simple dhun, everybody can follow. जग में सचो तेरो नाम, हे राम, 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 हे राम। तू ही माता, तू ही पिता है, तू ही माता, तू ही पिता है, तू ही तो है राधा का श्याम। हे राम, हे राम, हे राम, हे राम। तू जगदाता, विश्व विधाता, तू जगदाता, विश्व विधाता, तू जगदाता, विश्व विधाता, तू जगदाता, विश्व विधाता। तेरे चरणों में चारों धाम। हे राम, हे राम, हे राम, हे राम। तू ही बिगाड़े, तू ही सवारे, तू ही बिगाड़े, तू ही सवारे, इस जग के सारे काम। हे राम, हे राम, हे राम, हे राम। हरे रामा, हरे रामा, रामा रामा, हरे हरे, 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 रामा रामा, हरे हरे, रामा रामा, हरे हरे।
बहुत सुंदर।
Thank you, Narayan. May I request Uncle Daswani to introduce my master to the rest of the people present here? Over to Uncle Daswani.
We must thank Aru first for really going all out to get our beloved Swamiji here and to really organize all these venues and a series of talks. So really, Aruji, thank you so very much. And now, life, as we know, is a very mysterious phenomenon. And in addition to that mystery, we add our own philosophy of life, depending upon different experiences that we get, right? And today, this whole past week has been a wonderful week to have our young monk, handsome and and very, very energetic, right? He wanted to know the truth. He wanted to resolve this mystery of life and how the variety of people, 7 billion or 8 billion, each has his own philosophy as to what life is all about. And at a very young age, right, where we just go and play and have fun in life, he quit this mundane life and went into the search of the final answers. So this evening, I'm sure he is back with us to share that wisdom as to what life is, what wisdom is. So please join me in welcoming Shri Mahamandaleshwar Acharya Swami Shri Abhinesh Ji.
Thank you, Daswaniji. Thank you ever since the days of our first meeting in Pune, when all the young, old, right from children, everybody would gather around Daswaniji to hear him speak, to talk to us. And I still find him talking, teaching, discussing what Puja Gurudev blessed him with. The other day when I was talking to someone here, they said that bless us. So I said, here is someone who is a blessing of Gurudev. And so here we have people in Hong Kong are fortunate. I too consider myself fortunate in that matter because we have had some time to spend with Uncle Daswani, who was pet of Puja Gurudev. So thank you. Several people whom I should thank, but many of us may not even want their names to be mentioned. Thanks to all. We will begin with a prayer of invocation and then look at the topic that we have assigned for this evening. Om Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tam Hadevamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamshrishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyam Sarvopaplavarahitaha Prajnanaghanaha Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi. Om Vedantartha Vibhasakaya Gurave Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadi Nagendra Sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohadvanta Divakaraya Bhagavat Padabhidham Vibhrate Tasmai Bhashyakrite Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane. Om The wise man and the world. This being the topic, we could have this door closed if there are going to be sounds. Though not in India, but consulate, and that also Indian consulate, we are reminded. Wise and the ignorant. If you are going to ask someone like Shri Krishna, how would you see people? He is not going to say, I see the world as the world of men and women, of nationalities and races, of cults and sects, he would say there are only two. The one who are awakened and the other who are going to be awakened. Because when we say ignorant, it does not mean that the person is condemned to stay ignorant forever. Mind you, ignorance is just a condition which is present, waiting for knowledge to eradicate it. Where the knowledge arrives, ignorance departs. And therefore, if there is anything that is waiting, then it is the want of knowledge. Let that knowledge come, and this is what is the prayer of the rishis. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Asatoma Sadgamaya. From the darkness, from the ignorance to knowledge. If you are going to ask me what would be biography of every person in this world, I would say just this one mantra is adequate to define it. The journey is from ignorance to knowledge. The journey is from this deep slumber, the sleep of ignorance, to the awakening of the knowledge. The wise has wisdom and therefore he is wise. That wisdom implies knowledge. I am not going to sit over here to tell you that knowledge is not wisdom. In the Upanishads, we do not find that kind of a categorization. What we call as knowledge is wisdom. Either you know or you do not know. There are only two categories. And if you do not know, then there can be that you are preparing to know. And if you are not preparing to know, implies that you don't want to know. Don't want to know means someone who wants to simply wallow in ignorance. Ignorance, we are going to say, is the mother of all sufferings. Every pain, every suffering, every misery has its beginning in the ignorance. And when we use the word ignorance, we use it categorically to mean the spiritual ignorance. The ignorance about that ultimate reality, knowing which one becomes free. Knowing which one is released from the bondage of suffering. And when we say knowledge is therefore responsible to release you from the bondage of suffering, the flip side of this statement would be that bondage is because of ignorance. The suffering is because of ignorance. Everyone over here seems to be crying out in some way or the other, saying that I am suffering. Each one of us has a story to tell about his suffering. Somebody says, I am suffering because of my wife. Someone says, I am suffering because of my neighbor's wife. Somebody says, I am suffering because of... It could be anything. You have 1,000 stories to tell about why you are dukkhi. But the fact remains that there is suffering. and your analysis of what is the cause of this suffering still has not been able to reach to that point from where you have found freedom from suffering. We have been simply changing. We have been simply changing the name of our suffering. Previously, somebody used to call, I am unemployed and therefore I am suffering. And that means, well, you are suffering. Now I have got a job, but that job is not to the point that I have job satisfaction and therefore I am suffering. So previously you were suffering without a job and now you are suffering with a job. You look at that, nothing has really changed. Your changing situations is not changing a fundamental fact about you. Your changing these names is not changing the fundamental fact about you. And Shri Krishna says that is what needs to change. If there is any transformation, then that transformation is just this. You are suffering or you are not suffering. Are you bound or are you free? We are not interested in whether you are moneyed or not moneyed. We are not interested in knowing whether you are married or not married. We are not interested in knowing whether you live in India or you live as an Eskimo in an igloo. We are interested just in only one fact: are you free or are you not? How much money you have accumulated and how much power and recognition you have gained, we are not interested at all. And therefore now it is important to know what is that vision, what is that knowledge the wise man has, which has made him wise. What is that knowledge that has set him free? That there is such a fundamental transformation, the most essential transformation. Everybody seems to be seeking it, but yet has not reached. And there is someone who has reached. And therefore we need to know. When Arjuna is asking this question, Shri Krishna says, Arjuna, that knowledge which sets you free, where can it be had from? Don't tell us that you are going to go buy books and from there your knowledge is going to come. It would be very silly. Shri Krishna is very clear. He says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Which politicians are you going to go to? Which institutions are you going to go to? Which powerful people are you going to approach? Somebody who is moneyed can give you money. Somebody who is powerful can share some power with you. Somebody who is very popular, hang around him, and very soon you will also be bathing in his limelight. May become a little popular, hanging around him. But none of them can give you knowledge. Somebody can give recognition, approval, money, position. But we are not seeking that. We are asking for that knowledge which is going to bring about this fundamental transformation. Shri Krishna says that if you want it, you will have to go to the teacher. Jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. And there is a way of going too. The way is that recognize that you need it. And when a person sees that it is his need, one will naturally become humble. Humility doesn't have to be taught. When you find that you are wanting something, you need it, that itself is going to make you humble, asking for it. Elsewhere in the world, whatever you may want, the world, the people in the world will be able to give you, but with a lot of humiliation, a lot of rejections and failures. But Bhagavan Krishna says, they definitely will tell you. Those Tattvadarshis, those awakened ones will definitely tell you. All that you need is to go and ask. All that you need is to go with humility and ask. Upadekshanti te jnanam, and that knowledge will be given to you. Once upon a time, there was a very big cage. I have told this story several times, and here it is again. I love this story. There was a very big cage, and it had enclosed several lions, hundreds of lions in it. Lions and lionesses with their cubs, hundreds of them. Some lions were getting together only to think how they are going to make this cage a better place for all the lions to live. And there was a very big conference. There was just one lion sitting somewhere in the corner, unnoticed by others, but somebody did notice him. And they asked the question, why aren't you participating in all our efforts, this conference, to make this cage a better place? He said, you can think about making the cage a better place. I am thinking about how to escape from the cage. I want to escape from this bondage. I am not interested in making this bondage a beautiful bondage. Even if it is a beautiful bondage, it is still a bondage. Even if you were going to live in a golden cage, just because it is golden does not make it any valuable. It remains a cage. Keep calling all your bondages with beautiful names. They still remain bondages. And the real bondage that we are talking about is the bondage of ignorance. Freedom from ignorance is freedom from bondage. Freedom from ignorance is the freedom from suffering. Dukkham has no other place, no other origin other than ignorance. Please know that for sure. Don't ever get trapped in the thinking that God is sending you any suffering. This is a very pathological idea about God. Why should God make you suffer? Please, for heaven's sake. What fun would God have in making you suffer? God is suffering me because God wants to test me. Can He not test me in some other way by making me happy? Sorry. God doesn't want to make you suffer. Maybe if not God, there has to be some other agency which is conspiring against me, and that is what makes me suffer. As long as all your theories and all your theologies are going to take you away, make you feeble and make you dependent, those are all extensions and expansions of illusions. All that they do is simply keep your ignorance intact. Because if ignorance ended, suffering would end. And when ignorance is going to be kept intact, which means that there is a guarantee of continuation of the suffering. But to end it is something that we will have to ask. And that is what the wise man has. That is what the awakened one has. The awakened one in the language of Upanishad is called as Brahmagyani. The one who has known Brahman is Brahmagyani. All our life is fraught with insecurity, bhayam. Either you are chasing this world, asking this world to please you in some way, or you are running away from this world because it is casting fear in you. There are only two things that we find we are all engaged in doing. Either we are running away, pushed, goaded by fear, insecurity, whatever that insecurity may be, emotional insecurity or financial insecurity or political, but there is insecurity. And when we say there is insecurity, the person finds, I am insecure. I am small. I am insecure. I may get crushed. And that's why I am afraid. The time is enormous. The time will crush me down. You don't want to be forgotten. You want to make yourself significant, important. It is insecurity. A person may want to make himself important for everyone, or at least one person. Whatever he may want to, but he necessarily finds that he is small, he is insignificant. And in making himself significant, important, he will overcome that insecurity, that fear. It is not so. And therefore, now we have to think, and think not to entertain ourselves. This thinking is form of analysis. There is a very beautiful Upanishad, Shvetashvatar Upanishad. The Shvetashvatar Upanishad opens with a passage saying, there are these rishis who have gathered together and they are engaged in an analysis. They are engaged in analysis. This analysis is not dry. This is Brahma Mimamsa. And it says that we find that we are a small little individual, that I am a small little individual in this world. Thank you. Thanks. That's okay. Thank you very much. Small little individual in this world. And therefore, two things constitute every experience of ours. One is I, and that what is experienced, that what is the world. I am the experiencer, and there is this world which is being experienced by me. No experience that we have can ever be devoid of these two factors. When you are going to say we are experiencing, it means there is an experiencer associated with some object of experience. Two things are there. And the Upanishad says, Dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati. As long as there is going to be this duality, till then the conflict will continue. As long as there is going to be this duality, the fear is going to continue. Dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati. And therefore, where does this fear end? Where does all your seeking end? It ends only in finding that you are complete. That fear ends in discovery of that what is Advitiyam, because Dvitiyam is what is. What is causing fear? Ignorance has got different names, please know that. Ignorance is going to come to you in 1,000 different forms, but it does not matter, it is still ignorance. I will explain this with a simple example, an analogy. Every Vedantin has that. Rajju Sarpa. So somebody enters into a room which is inadequately lit and he says there is a snake. The second person comes and says, well, it is not a snake. It is a pushpamala, garland of flowers. The third person comes and he says, it is a crack in the ground. The fourth person comes and says, no, it is a stream of water. The fifth person comes and says, well, it is a crooked stick. And when the light is lit, he who said it is a snake finds it's a rope. He who said it is a garland knows it is a rope. He who said it is a stick knows it is a rope. Knowledge is one, ignorance has 1,000 names. Knowledge cannot have 1,000 different names. Knowledge is always going to be one. Everything and anything said about the rope, as snake, as a stick, as the jaladhara, the stream of water, or even the bhuchhidra, crack in the ground, everything else, whatever was spoken about, you were talking about the same object, which is the rope. And therefore, knowing the rope as rope is knowledge. Calling the rope as anything else is going to be ignorance. You can have 1,000 names. Keep calling whatever, but it does not matter. All those names is nothing but ignorance, an expansion of ignorance. Dvitiyam, that Dvaitam, the difference, and everywhere the difference is the cause of bhayam. The difference is the cause of suffering everywhere. Just have a little difference of opinion. You don't have to do anything more and you will know bhayam. Yesterday, you yourself were having a different opinion. Today, you may have exactly opposite opinion. But there is another person who has a different opinion than yours. It becomes a cause of bhayam or aggression or whatever, because our aggression also arises from bhayam. We all know that. It doesn't have to be taught. Aggression comes from bhayam. Aggression is not a sign of courage. Aggression is not courage. And so over here, that bhayam which is coming from this duality now needs to go. how can that duality itself go away? If duality was real, there is no point, you cannot get rid of it. And that what you cannot get rid of, change it, can never be treated as a problem. That what is natural or that what is the nature cannot be called as problem. You have eyes and you are able to see through the eyes. It is not a problem. Nobody says, well, these days I am able to see through the eyes, not through the nose, you know. I have a problem. What problem? I am breathing through nose. Breathing through nose, can it be a problem? You cannot change it. Fire is hot. This is a problem? No, fire is hot is not a problem. Fire is hot is a statement of fact. Statement of fact is not a problem. It cannot be, therefore fact cannot be a problem. When this bhayam, which is coming from duality, is there, and unless and until you have got rid of it, whether it is insecurity or the sense of displeasure which we live with, that I am not pleased with myself, itself is something that you want to get rid of. Both of these things are rising out of that duality. And then the Upanishad says, he who has now known that non-dual Brahman becomes free from it, becomes free from bhayam, becomes free from ignorance. Because becoming free from ignorance implies freedom from bhayam, freedom from that insecurity. Knowing that what is Purnam, knowing that which is complete, infinite, limitless, that Brahman as the very self, as this very Atma, as the meaning of the word I. This is going to be your quest. So somebody said it very appropriately, the whole quest is from I to I. You have the meaning of word I, and the meaning of word I presently is this small little individual. Whereas the Upanishad says that meaning of word I is Brahman. And that Brahman means that reality in which the world of names and forms rises and goes back. No name and form is there forever. Every name and form comes and goes away. Every name and form is just a temporary existence, a temporary phenomena. But all our transactions are based only on names and forms. The Upanishad gives this example by saying the pot, earthen pot, the clay pot, pot is a name, pot is a form, and that pot has got a particular function to fulfill. You can say the word pot, it conveys you certain meaning, some cognition rises. That pot, a name, pot, a form, and with the pot you are able to store the water or bring the water from the river, well, wherever. So it has a certain function to accomplish. Therefore, we have pot, a name, a form, with its attributes, small, big, red, black, broken pot and cracked pot. We have all this about the pot. But the name and that form arises in the clay and goes back to the clay. There was clay present even before the pot was created. There is clay even as the pot is created and functions, and clay is going to be there even after the pot is destroyed. Right where the pot is, there is something that is indestructible. Right where the pot is, you are going to discover that what is indestructible. And so also is true about all names and forms. Every name and form has got some function to do. I am a mother, I am a father, I am a boss, I am a subordinate, I am a citizen, I am some other citizen of some other country, so on and so forth. There are various functions associated with different names and forms, and as a virtue of that name and form, it is something that comes and goes. Show me one name and form which has stayed forever. No name and form ever has. But right where there is that what is destructible, you are going to discover that what is indestructible. That what is indestructible, we call that as God. We are not going to say God means something who is sitting up and manipulating everyone, because that God is waiting for you to praise Him, and unless and until you praise that God, your fever is not going to go. Unless and until you praise that God, you are not going to get married. We do not have such flimsy definitions. If somebody is stopping you from getting married because he needs to be praised, then that fellow has a serious problem of self-image. You see, he has a serious problem of self-image, that unless and until people praise me, I am not going to be happy. Praise me. That's not how the Upanishad and Gita ever speaks about what is God. That what is indestructible, that what is Aksharam, is that what is Avinashi. Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvam idam tatam. That what is Avinashi. Vinasha means destruction. Avinasha or Avinashi means that what is indestructible. These are names and forms, including this name and form. Every identity is nothing more than just a name and form with certain attributes. Right there, you have to discover that which is indestructible. The I, that self, is something which is indestructible. And that what is destructible, that what is changing, is only an appearance. The clay pot can be changed into a clay plate. The clay plate can be changed into a clay square cube. This square cube can be rolled into a clay ball. The names have changed, the forms have changed, the functions have changed. But right there, the clay that is indestructible is present. Once upon a time, you were an infant, you became a teenager, then after became an adult, now whatever. And then things have changed. What is it that has not changed? What is it that has not changed?
Consciousness.
Every status changes. That which is changeless, that which is indestructible, we have said is Paramatma. And all that is given to you is now to know that this changeless basis on which this entire world of names and forms, which is an appearance, comes and goes, that changeless basis is the meaning of word I, and that is all that you have to know. In knowing that, you have found that what is timeless. In knowing that, you have discovered that what is limitless, and that what is limitless is this I. All the seeking has ended over here, because a desire or a seeking or a want means wanting more, wanting more, wanting more. We are not going to discuss whether you want love or you want money or recognition. Whatever you want, how much do you want it? And your answer would be, I want it limitlessly. And therefore, our real search and seeking is for that what is limitless. In other words, that what is complete, that what is Purnam. And that is what is the meaning of word I. This is not something that is the Upanishad asking you to believe in. Rest of the places you will be told that believe. We are saying it is to be known. It has to be known. We are not even saying it has to be discovered. It is to be known. The word discover is very nice. That discovering means to remove the cover. Under the cover, that object is already existing. You did not create that object. You didn't invent it. It was already waiting for that cover to be removed. Removing that cover means that what is covered by ignorance is revealed when the knowledge, when that light removes that darkness. This is then in discovering that the Atma is Brahman. He who has known this fact about his own being is free. And that free person, now we say, is the wise man. We are not saying that a Brahmagyani is someone who does a lot of magic. When you are not well, he is going to cure your cold and cough. For that, we have doctors to do the job. Why do you require a Brahmagyani to do this? No, Brahmagyani hai to shadi kara denge. Is Brahmagyani some marriage bureau opening? You have people to do that job. Why would you require a Brahmagyani to do this? Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. And this is the man who has known Atma is Brahman, we say is Panditaha. Bhagavan Krishna says that Arjun, na anushochanti panditaha. That panditaha means those jnanis, those realized, the awakened ones, do not come to grieve, which means there is nothing for which they grieve or even regret or have a remorse or have a sense of being inferior or unfulfilled. Nothing of this is ever left with them. And they are Panditaha. This is the Jnani. This is the one who is awakened. He is free. There is nothing for which he would ever grieve. How did that happen? Because he has found that this Atma is Purnam. That is what is the meaning. How does he look at the world and how do we look at the world and the wise man? And therefore there is a need to understand both what is implied by the word wise man and what is implied by the word the world. And I have made it clear till now that when we say the wise man, we mean he who is free from the bondage. The one who is free from the bondage means he who has known that this self is Brahman. As a result of this, dukkham has gone, avidya has gone, ignorance has gone away, the mother of all problems has gone away. And therefore there is no further breeding of this dukkham, an expansion of this dukkham. Gone, sir. What is this world? For anybody of us, the world is a place where we are seeking something. You are asking, begging, either you are asking from this world in form of begging, that please make me happy, or you are aggressively taking it away. Whether you ask and you get, you ask and you don't get, you pounce and you get, and you pounce and you don't get. The equation remains the same. Whether you become an aggressive fellow or you simply become an passive asker, in both the cases, it still remains the same. You are asking, seeking something from the world. So we see this world as a place where we function constantly to get something. And a jnani is he for whom his experience of the world is that the world is not apart from him. Mayyeva sakalam jatam, mayi sarvam pratishthitam, mayi sarvam layam yati, tad brahma dvayamasmyaham. This is what the Upanishad says, Kaivalya says about the wise man. How does he see the world? For us, the world is a place where we are constantly suffering. For us, this is a place where we are confined to suffer. And for the wise, the world is something that appears in his being and disappears in his being. The world does not have a separate existence other than him, and therefore finally in the Upanishad, in the Dakshinamurti Stotram, the experience of this wise man is translated as Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivod Bhutam Yatha Nidraya Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. There is a mirror. Thus the stotram, this hymn begins by saying that there is a mirror, and in this mirror the entire city is reflected. The houses of poor and houses of rich, the powerful people and the powerless people, the beautiful people and the ugly people, the pious people and the profane people, the young and the old, the sun and the moon, stars, everything is reflected in the mirror. As if everything is inside that mirror. But when you go to see what is there inside the mirror, is there a sun, is there a moon, is there a building, is there a man, a sinner, a saint? What is there inside? Nothing, just mirror itself. Just pure mirror. So also for a jnani, this is how he sees the world, as an appearance in his own being. But for you and me, the world is something that appears outside you. Exactly like a dream. The dream occurs right inside you, but it is seen and experienced as something that is outside. the inside and outside, the words really need to be analyzed, seen by us. We use the words, but we really don't look at the meaning conveyed by the words. And when we use the words without any meaning, then it is noise. We keep saying, but we don't know what it means. What are you going to say as outside? That outside begins with just your skin. Anything under that skin you are going to say inside and outside. But that skin, the body, the bones, everything is the part of the world. What is it that is not the world? You are saying that this is not the world begins here. We are asking, what is this then? Is not that the world? That too is the world. And this world that one is afraid of. The world, if you are not afraid of, you are chasing the world. There could be just these two interactions with the world. Either I am chasing the world or I am running away from the world. Whatever that you are running away from or running towards, both these things, that world, is nothing more than just an appearance in your being. Now, when the Jnani sees this, for him the world is not apart from him. He does not become judgmental about the world. For him, this whole world is nothing but his own expanse. And therefore, for him, there is only one relationship. If there is any relationship to be imagined between the world and the awakened one, there is only one relationship, and that relationship is the relationship of love. Where there seems to be a duality, but there is not. Where there seems to be the second, but there is not. And hence, over here, that vision of the Jnani is which sets us free, and that is what has to be sought. Hence, Bhagavan Krishna says, approach him, go to him, seek that knowledge. The world that you are afraid of, or the world that you are chasing, is not something that you have to be afraid of, because it is already within you. And Arjuna then asks a question. Arjuna says that, Lord, we find that the Jnani is still living in the world. How does he conduct himself? And Bhagavan says, this wise man is not propelled by the forces of raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes. He simply acts in this world as it is required, not based on his likes and dislikes, because there is no personal desire, but it is the requirement, demand of that time, of that situation, and therefore he acts most appropriately. We are all victims of our own raga and dvesha, and therefore our responses are not necessarily appropriate to the time. They are always inadequate. They are going to be always incomplete. There is going to be something that is inappropriate about our responses. That is going to leave a space for you to say, well, I should not have done that. I didn't mean it. I missed the opportunity. All these things are going to be there as our songs, for a jnani, there is neither a regret nor the sense of pride. All that is there is, it had to be done, it was done. For the jnani, the world is not even something where he is acting, doing anything. He sees that the body, mind, equipment acts, and there is a perfect harmony between the body and the world. There is no conflict. In the world of a jnani, there is no conflict. In the world of the jnani, there is no conflict between him and the world. All the conflicts are resolved, and all that is there is just this song of love. And therefore Shri Krishna says, amongst the devotees, the jnani is the highest devotee. Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. And why is he categorizing even a jnani as a bhakta? Because that bhakti implies an element of love, which is available only with the jnani. Therefore, at the end of it, Shabri said only this to Rama: Rama, only you know how to love. Rest of us are either pretending to love or just trying to love. Both of them can't. Only you know. And therefore, if there is a perfect relationship, then that perfect relationship is only that of the jnani with the world. In our world, there is imperfection. In his world, there is only harmony, love, and perfection. This is the wise man, around whom there is beauty, around whom there is charm, around whom there is the song of auspiciousness, and there is an ignorant around whom there is a dense blanket of ignorance, stench of jealousy, conflict, clamor of wants, lamentation of lost opportunities. Whatever the jnani touches gets transformed, blossoms, and wherever the ignorant touches becomes apavitra. Wherever he puts his foot becomes a shrine. That is what the Bhagavat says. Wherever, even Narad Bhakti Sutra says, Tirthi kurvanti tirthani. That wherever he is going to put his foot, or even the dust of his foot, that becomes the holy of holiest, the most holy, the most sanctified. That is what the wise man is. And therefore, if we understand that the prime duty as a human being is now not simply striving in this world to gain little recognition and money and small little fringe things around. Go for that what one is born for. Go for that what is your true destination. And this then is the message of the Upanishads. Thank you very much. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. So wonderful to understand the difference or the commonalities or the similarities between the wise man and the world. Thank you so much, Swamiji. Swamiji is here till 27th of September. He's teaching at Iyengar Yoga Center. George is here. If you would like to know more about his lessons at Iyengar Yoga Center, please ask him. He'll be more than happy to share the information. There is another general discourse coming up at Iyengar Yoga Center on Wednesday evening, Thursday evening. Hurdles in spirituality.
Oh, okay.
Everyone is welcome there. You don't have to register, just walk in. George will be very happy to see you out there. Swamiji has his own ashram in Rishikesh. It's called Sri Jagat Guru Sannyas Ashram. I've started calling it a home for 2 years. If you would like to know more about that ashram, you know who to contact. George will be leading a workshop, yoga workshop there very soon. Swamiji is also going to start his Vedanta courses there very, very soon. If you're interested in joining any of those Vedanta courses, then either you can contact George and me. And a couple of thank yous. Unconditional support from Uncle Daswani and Auntie. Thank you so much, Uncle. Thank you so much, Auntie. Unconditional, totally unconditional support from George, Doris, Anju, and Go. Thank you so much. Without you, these 10 days wouldn't have been possible. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming, Doctor.
Thank you.